Hi, this is Joe again with another review. For the sake of this video, we're going to be discussing the 1954 classic, The Last Time I Saw Paris, starring Elizabeth Taylor, Van Johnson, and Walter Pidgeon. Also, Don Reed also stars in this film. Of course, this film, it will kind of remind, at least for me, reminded me of the 1970 movie Love Story. And Alan McGraw and Ryan O'Neal, because it has the same, not exactly the same premise, but a similar, type of feel and kind of downbeat film. What you want to get into? Of course, this film takes place towards the end of World War II, and Van Johnson plays an army soldier, army reporter actually, or should we say reporter working for the army, covering them for during World War II, or so at the tail end of World War II, as the war in Europe was ending, and while Paris was liberated from the Nazis, he meets Donna Reed's character, and they're flirting a little bit, and then Van Johnson ends up meeting Elizabeth Taylor, who happens to be in this movie Donna Reed's sister. Excuse me 1 second. And so because of that, Van Johnson instantly falls in love with Elizabeth Taylor, who at that time she was only about like 22 years old at the time, and she was, at that time drop dead gorgeous. I mean, it's impossible to say that she's not, or that she wasn't at that time. Anyway, he ends up marrying her, and afterwards he was working as a reporter in a local Paris newspaper, and he's getting bored with the job because he's not doing that terrific stories. He's not covering terrific big news events. It's just routine day in life type stuff. And on the side, he was trying to be a successful author, and so far his books has been being rejected by all the publishing houses in not only the United States but in Europe as well. So he keeps saying manuscripts and all of them being rejected. So he's getting a little, more and more frustrated. And while that's going on, his marriage to Elizabeth Taylor is starting to fall apart. Even though they had a daughter together, he was getting more and more frustrated because they know that he was meant to be a great writer, but nobody was willing to give him a chance. So while all this is going on, he was supposed to cover Ava Gabor. I should mention that Ava Gabor has a tiny role in this film. He ends up meeting her, and they, flirting with each other and stuff. Even though he tells her that he's married with a young child, she doesn't care, and they're just mostly flirting. And it's implied, or Donna Reed implies, that he was having an affair with Ava Gabor, which is not true. Just, two adults flirting with each other like crazy. They didn't care what the other kind of friends were, they were flirting with each other. And this one particular night, he leaves with Ava Gabor's character and leaves Elizabeth Taylor behind, at his party, and they got annoyed. And Van Johnson comes home. He's drunk as a skunk. His wife is left out in the cold, literally. And not too long after that, she gets admitted to a hospital, and she dies. Right? It wasn't anything that dramatic, because she got cold and it's raining in her head. She developed didn't mention what she died of. It says that she's very sensitive to cold, or her body was very sensitive to cold temperatures. She gets sick easily. And well, she ends up getting sick because she gets locked out of the house. And anything that she did is just that Van Johnson was so drunk he couldn't take this stupid chain off the door because he was passed out drunk, and Elizabeth Taylor ends up dying in the hospital. And what happened was that Donna Reed got so ticked off that he left her sister to die that she filed suit, and she wanted custody of her niece, which she ends up getting, by the way. She ends up getting custody of the niece. So a couple of years later, Van Johnson is now, living in the United States, because he is an American and he was a natural born American, so he was now living in his home country, and he's now an established author. He comes back to Paris, and he wants his daughter back. What I should mention, up to that moment, most of his movies are flashbacks. Because Van Johnson goes back to the old bar where he first meets Elizabeth Taylor, Elizabeth Taylor's character, and he goes back to the bar, and the bar owner recognizes him and says, "Oh, how you doing?" And then he sits at the bar, and the rest of the movies are flashbacks up to the point where he came back to Paris to get his daughter back. And so he's fighting with Donna Reed's Donna Reed says, "I'd like to have my daughter back." And even the daughter, Van Johnson's daughter in this film, even she says that she wants to live with her father. And Jim Van Johnson says, "Look, it's up to you. It's not up to me." I said, I do want you, and you want to live with me. It's great. I'm glad to have you, but it's up to your aunt, because she's the one who has to have the final say-so in this. So, of course, what happens? Of course, Donna Reed, of course, says no. And then Donna Reed's husband in the film, I don't know who played the part, but her husband in the movie says, "I know the reason why you are so mad. It's not because of what happened on that one night when your sister dies, but you're more upset because you were actually were in love with him, and he didn't marry you. He married your sister instead, because he was in love with your sister and not you, and you are taking it out on him by fighting for custody for his daughter and having custody of her, and you refuse to give her back to her have her father take her home to the United States, and taking it out on him because he didn't marry you." And then, of course, that boom hit him over the head, and she reconsidered. And at the end of the movie, she gives the daughter, or Valerie Reed gives the daughter back to Van Johnson. At the end of the movie, that's walked off into the night, and that's how the movie ends. Well, to me, this movie is very similar. Not 100% similar, but very darn close to what a Love Story was, and that you had a tragic death and a real sad ending, and that's what this movie is. It's really downbeat, and it's really a depressing film. What do you call it? The greatest movie ever made? Is it? No, but it does have a story, and see Elizabeth Taylor when she was like only 22 years old, and this movie was considered her first really adult role, in the movie business. And of course, Van Johnson was well known. Many younger viewers will remember Van Johnson as one of the sillier villains in the 1960s Batman TV show, because he did appear in that show. Van Johnson did, but it's like he gave a good performance. Elizabeth Taylor gave a great performance. Donna Reed was good. All the acting performances are good, and it made this movie believable. Even though you could argue, even though the movie was made in 1954 or came out, I should say came out in 1954, it's more of a cliche movie today, because you know where the movie's going to go pretty much, and it's very predictable by today's standards. So that's my review of the movie Last Time I Saw Paris. Please click on the video, please rate it, please subscribe to my channel, please forward this video to your Facebook pages. You can check out all my reviews and on my YouTube channel at rallyc.com, so WDY, the letter C.com. There's a whole page of Rally Reviewer. Chris Lee Moore. Please check out all of his videos on his website. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time.